We're now recording and everyone from the lobby has been admitted into the meeting.
Thanks, Heidi. Welcome to this public meeting of the Northern Beaches Local Planning Panel. I'll just ask everybody, or we have two guests attending today, if you could just make sure that your phones are on mute until it's your turn to address the panel. My name's Marcia Downey and I'm the chair of today's meeting. We also have expert members Ian Arnott and Heather Wharton, and our community member is Carolyn Hill. Before we start, I'd like to, on behalf of the council and on behalf of the panel, pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the various lands on which we are meeting today, and acknowledge that land and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Each panel member has in writing confirmed that they don't have any conflict of interest for today's agenda items, but I'll just ask each of you for the record to confirm that I don't have any conflict of interest. Heather?
No conflicts, thanks, Marcia.
Ian?
No conflicts for me.
And Carolyn?
No conflicts for me.
Thank you. Do we have minutes of previous meetings, Heidi?
Yes, they were adopted and noted by the chair for the 7th of August meeting.
Okay, so the panel notes the minutes of the 7th of August meeting were adopted by the chair of that meeting and have been posted on the council's website. So we have for today's public meeting 3 items and we have 2 speakers registered to speak for the second item. The first item is 47 Sydenham Road, just some administrative information. So in relation to each application, the panel has visited all sites and we have read the assessment reports, all accompanying documentation, submissions from the public and any supplementary reports for all applications. And registered speakers are allowed to speak for 3 minutes, and that time may be extended if the panel wishes that to happen. Following the submissions, the panel will have the opportunity to ask questions of the speakers, and this meeting is being recorded and will be available on council's website after the meeting. At the end of the public hearing, the panel will retire into closed session to deliberate and reach a decision, and usually that decision is made on the same day and posted on council's website within 24 to 48 hours. So the first item on today's agenda is 47 Sydenham Road, Brookvale, which is a development application for use as a heavy industrial storage establishment and associated alterations and additions. There are no speakers registered for this item, so the panel has already had the benefit of a briefing from council staff on this item, and after the public meeting closes, the panel will deliberate on this item and make a decision, make a determination, which will then be placed on council's website. So that ends the first item, 4.1. We'll now move to the item where we have Mr. Fleming and Mr. Thorson registered to speak. So this is 2/34 Campbell Avenue, Cromer. It's a modification of a development application granted for alterations and additions to a sex services premises. And this application arises from a condition imposed by the previous panel requiring accessible bathroom facilities for the accessible room in the proposed development. And the modification application is to include a shower in the accessible room, but no toilet or, I'm assuming, basin facilities. So Mr. Thorson and Mr. Fleming, the panel's read the assessment report, and we're actually having the original report. We also have been provided with the original assessment report and the consent as well. I'll throw it open to the panel members whether you have any questions before I ask questions of the speakers, and then I'll ask the speakers to go ahead. Heather
No.
or Ian or Carolyn, any questions for the speakers?
Yes, thank you. I was interested if there was any existing disabled toilets in the facility as approved.
No.
No, not from the 2009 approval. There hasn't been.
Or any other approval?
No.
Is there only one approval that we're modifying, or there is a previous consent?
We're modifying the alterations and additions that was approved, but the original consent from 2009, when it was the change of use was approved, there hasn't been any disabled toilets.
Okay, and I understand there's a condition that requires BCA upgrade, a new condition. Have you seen that on the consent? On the modification approval, I mean.
I've seen that we have to demonstrate or show compliance with the BCA.
It may say upgrade. I don't know, help me out, Ian. What condition was that?
I can't hear you. He's on mute.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it says details demonstrating compliance to be provided prior to the issue of a CC.
Okay, I didn't actually say BCA upgrade.
No, I'm ready now.
The title of the condition does. The National Construction Code BCA upgrade requirements and fire safety upgrade to read as follows. As detailed and recommended in the BCA compliance assessment report.
Oh, okay.
So your own report
Right.
submitted has indicated that you'll be doing it, I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
We did look into fitting the toilet and hand basin in and the requirements. So I'd spent about $13,000 investigating the situation to see whether we could actually make that work in that space, and there was just no way around making that all work. We can certainly put a shower in, and we can allow for that. And then my idea was, I said to the certifier, I said, could we possibly not have a shower screen then in that room to make, if there's look, to be perfectly honest with you, there's never any wheelchair bound people come in regardless. It was just that if the option was arising, would we be able to look after them? But it looks like no. So they've found some other places where they can go to, and they'll be, if people do turn up in a wheelchair and they're completely bound in a wheelchair, we can tell them where to go elsewhere to other services places. But we could not, no matter which way we configured it around for the architects, be able to be compliant with disabled access people in there.
Can I just ask a question then? So why was it nominated? Was it a requirement that that room be nominated as an accessible room?
No, the council just put it on there as a condition.
Well, I think
I know
shown
there was
on
a
your
condition
plan.
relating to the bathroom, but because I think I was on that original panel, and my recollection was that the plans showed it. The applicant's plans showed that room as an accessible room, which made the panel think, well, if it's accessible, yes, you can get into there with a wheelchair. What about bathroom facilities?
I agree.
Yeah, it was thought of because there was options under the NDIS to provide services of this nature to people on the NDIS, and recently the minister has said that they're no longer going to cover those services under the NDIS. So there's really no, and as Phil said, there's no high demand for this sort of services from people with a disability, and even less so now with no support under the NDIS going to be offered for these services as well. So it's just really unlikely that anybody with a disability, or especially those who are completely wheelchair bound, to access these sort of services.
And can I just ask a second question? If they did, if a person arrived in a wheelchair and this room is accessible to a wheelchair user, is there anywhere, are there any toilet facilities that would be accessible, not necessarily in that room, but elsewhere on the premises that would be available for a person in a wheelchair?
There is actually in the complex across, it'd be 15 metres away, there is an actual disabled toilet area on site. It's part of the building, the whole strata area. So they do have a dedicated disabled car parking area and an access room into a complete bathroom, toilet, hand basin area with no shower screens or anything in there. So
and do you know whether that toilet is always open?
No, it's
24 hours a
not.
day?
It's actually locked via a key, which I actually have a key for.
Okay.
They were being a bit funny about allowing people to access that. This is the executive committee saying that it's only for them, like the owners. And I'm like, well, tenants surely have got to have access to that toilet as well. So I say that's my argument towards them. I do now have a key for that. I wasn't given a key, but I do now have a key for that area as well. So if there was per se someone who needed to wheel in and then use bathroom or shower, there is something very, very close by, but it is outside my unit.
Okay, so there'll be a shower and that key will be kept on the premises so that I'm assuming that you're not there often.
No, I'm a motor mechanic. So,
yeah, so there'll be that key will be available.
It's given to the tenant who is going to be running that brothel. They're quite well aware of it, and we've also put a plan of management in that if someone does come in, I mean, it wouldn't take long, right? So someone does come in and wheelchair bound, they can't get in the door for a starter, but there's a security cameras. The staff have to come out, see who that is, and if they're wheelchair bound, if they can't make their own way in, well, then they'll be given a list of places where they can go to instead. So it'd be a once-off, if you know what I mean. If someone wheeled in there and they couldn't get in, they'd realise that, be given other places to go to, and it'd move on. I don't know of any case that they have had wheelchair people go in. I know elderly gentlemen have come in on walking frames, but they're able to get out. They drive there, and they get out with their frame and walk in. I think that was the whole idea for disabled, if I may say, not realising the extent of what disabled actually meant, as in everybody. That was a bit of our planning mistake as well, trying to cater for as much as what we possibly can, but then getting caught out with the laws and regulations of like the space that you need. It just can't happen.
Yeah.
So we will put a shower in that area. That's no problems, and hopefully that's enough to suffice.
Okay, thank you. Do the panel have any other questions or questions?
Could I just ask a couple of things, Marcy?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, so a quick look at the existing approved plans indicate that the other rooms, I think they all have shower within the room. Is that correct?
Yeah,
they don't
correct.
all have a toilet. I think one might have a bathroom accessed from it, but I don't think the rooms have a toilet necessarily.
There'll be only 2 toilets in the premises.
And one is a generally accessible one?
Both are really generally accessible. One is through a corridor, one is directly there as you walk in.
Yeah. But they do all have shower facilities.
Yes.
Yes.
And
hang on. No, sorry, there is one standalone toilet and hand basin, and in the other toilet area there is a shower and hand basin.
Right. But sorry, the rooms themselves, not talking about room 5 now, but the other rooms, do they all have a shower in them?
Yes.
Right. And you just mentioned then that the access into the unit itself doesn't enable wheelchair access. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes,
It's
and
not.
that's
It's not wide. No, it doesn't comply with the standards for width for wheelchair access.
Correct. Yes.
But you said that, you know, sometimes there are people on walking frames and things.
Yeah.
Would there be a problem if the shower that you do intend putting into Unit 5 was required to be an accessible shower?
No, if they can get in the actual doorways, it's a bit of a catch-22. They won't change the front door because it's strutted and existing.
I understand.
But the doors inside, we're actually making wider. So making them a metre wide on the ground floor instead of your 830 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So once you're in, you can access anything.
For elderly, it might be useful anyway, if it's possible, to have it as an accessible shower to require that, rather than just a shower like the other rooms. But
we can provide handrails and things in that shower.
They're going to have vertical and horizontal handrails in that shower in room number 5.
Okay, right. That's all from me. Thanks.
Any other questions from the panel? Okay. Was there anything else that Will or Phil that you wanted to say to the panel?
No, we were just here to answer any questions that the panel may have. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for your attendance. We will, as I said earlier, we have another item and then we have some more non-public items to deal with, and then we'll make a decision later today, and that'll go on the council's website in the next 2 to 4 days, or 1 to 3 days, I think.
That'll be good. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So that concludes item 4.2, and then we have item 4.3, which is 342 and 344 Whale Beach Road, Palm Beach. Alterations and additions to a dwelling house, including widening of the existing shared driveway within the road reserve and associated works. On this item, again, the panel has had the benefit of reading the assessment report and has had a detailed briefing from council staff, and will be receiving further information after the meeting and then making a determination later today. And that determination will be presented on council's website in the next few days. So with that, I think, Heidi, unless there's anything else that needs attention, I'll close the public meeting.
I will stop recording now.